Welcome to day 2, lesson 1. What is cryptocurrency? So in short, guys, cryptocurrency are nothing more than tech companies that are put here to solve everyday problems that we face in today's society. So cryptocurrency is a new form of digital currency. So currently our US dollar went from, gold, silver to paper to credit cards, and now it's in a digital form. So you may ask, what's the difference between the digital form of cryptocurrency and the digital form of money today? And that's a great question. But the difference is the technology that's behind it. So in order for you to know what the differences are, you have to understand what the inefficiencies are in the system today as we're transacting in present time. So some of the examples are payment systems such as credit cards and wire transfers are outdated. In most cases, a bunch of middlemen like banks and brokers take a cut in the process, making transactions expensive and extremely slow. Financial inequality is growing around the world, and around 5 billion unbanked or underbanked people can't access financial services. So that's approximately half the population. So here's some basics of cryptocurrency. So in today's system, government-backed currency is held in reserve banks. So in essence, you need ATM machines, you need connections to banks. This causes a lot of friction, right? And a lot of delays. So we have restrictions on when and the amount of money that we can send at one time. So on weekends, banks aren't transacting. On holidays, banks don't transact. So in the cryptocurrency world, because it's frictionless and there's no central authority that owns it, it's open 24 hours. So you can send whatever amount to anybody within seconds, depending on the network or the crypto that you're sending. But I think where a lot of people trip up when they're trying to figure out what cryptocurrency is, they don't really have a true understanding of what money is, right? So the definition of money, you need enough people to have it. Merchants must accept it as a form of payment. And then society overall has to see it's valuable and will remain valuable in the future. So a little history on cryptocurrency. So back in 2008, Bitcoin was formed. So in present time, the story is there's a guy by the name of Satoshi that created the Bitcoin back then. But we have our own myths and data that debunk that particular story there. But anyway, they created this blockchain that was centralized, and it was a peer-to-peer situation, meaning there was no middleman, there was no central authority because there's no owner. So when there's no owner, in today's society, they can pretty much put whatever restrictions on, credit checks, they could redline you in real estate. So anytime there's central authority, there's always an abuse of power. So when Bitcoin came out, it was adopted by a lot of people early who were just tired of the centralized system that we lived in. So right around 2011, many more cryptocurrencies came to market. Why? Because in those years that Bitcoin was evolving, they noticed that there was some instabilities within the Bitcoin network. So now you have the rise of other cryptocurrencies, and at present time, we have over 26,000 and counting cryptocurrencies today. What you guys need to realize is every single cryptocurrency has its own specific case use or something that it solves, some sort of problem, right? A majority of them don't solve anything. So this is where you have to be careful. Currently now, Bitcoin is about 46% of the market cap of the entire market cap of the cryptocurrency. So this is where you get the Bitcoin dominance because they were first to market. And I truly believe the allure of, the story of no one owner and that peer-to-peer situation creates a good environment for a lot of people where they're just calling Bitcoin digital gold at the end of the day. So it's a place that you can go ahead and store value without government intervention. So it could be great for certain people, law-abiding citizens, and it could be a haven for a lot of fraud for people who aren't really subscribing to the rules. But again, the same thing happens with cash day in and day out, right? And cash was one of those, untraceable forms of currency. So at least with the blockchain, you do have, transactions that are on public ledgers that people can see where the money is coming and going. Now, whether you know who it's tied to, that's a different story. And in the future, I think all transactions would be tied to someone. And again, there's going to be some, people who like that, and there's going to be some people who don't. So here are a few benefits to cryptocurrency. And guys, I'll go over a few of these, but I definitely want you to read the slides because there's going to be a lot more information to cover inside of each slide. So once I give you the overview, it's your job to then dig in a little bit more. So key benefits: reduces corruption, eliminating extreme money printing, giving people charge of their own money, cutting out the middleman, and serving the underbanked. So the reducing corruption part. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Cryptocurrency aims to resolve issues of absolute power by distributing the power amongst people and not a central authority. So understand, this is where blockchain technology is so needed for the future of finance. Eliminating extreme money printing, right? So today, what governments tend to do is anytime we get into some sort of financial issues or destruction or down markets, the governments tend to print money, right? And when you keep printing money, you're devaluing the actual currency. And in essence, you're eventually going to get into the state that we're in right now, which is hyperinflation. So as the dollar starts to decline, your buying power is also declining. This is why you're seeing a rise and an uptick in people wanting to know cryptocurrency and people that are actually utilizing it as a hedge against inflation. So 4% of the world population was currently invested in crypto, and now it's gone up just in the last year to 11%. So you're starting to see a lot more mass adoption, and it's because of the world's financial landscape is failing right now. So, the US dollar was tied to so many other countries. And as our dollar starts to fail, their cost of goods and everything else is going up in the world, which is causing hyperinflation all over the place. So just keep that in mind. Cryptocurrency is being used as a hedge against inflation. So this is the part that can get a little tricky, guys. People throw around the word decentralization. Our current system is centralized. So what does that mean? That means there's one central authority that makes all the rules. And we know that it's not a level playing field. So a lot of the rules that they make are only beneficial to, the wealthy or their shareholders at the end of the day. The common guy just can't play catch up with the way the current system is set up. So when a lot of these young tech guys came into space, they wanted to disrupt the way money moved and just all things, right? So they wanted to give the power back to the people instead of centralized, system. So if you think about like Google, Instagram, or Meta, they have access to all our data. So like we like to tell our students is if you're not paying for it, you are the product. So what they do is they turn around, they sell our data, to third-party companies that in turn sell items to us based on our search history and things like that. So when you start seeing these decentralized models, you can really jump off that wave and start to have control and autonomy over your own time and money. So cryptocurrency doesn't just affect the currency market. It affects supply chain. It affects the internet. It affects everyday life. And this is where you go into the case use of different projects. So this is not about just stored value and being able to spend cryptocurrency anywhere. A lot of projects are solving problems that's going to help us out and make things more efficient, which would then drive down costs and increase profit margins for people. So this is a multitude of benefits that cryptocurrency offers. Like anything, there's always some myths. So some of the common myths about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency are good only for criminals. You can make anonymous transactions using all cryptocurrencies. The only application of blockchain is Bitcoin, and all blockchain activity is private. So guys, cryptocurrency is only good for criminals. I mentioned this before, just like cash or any form of currency, there's always going to be guys that are going to try to sidestep the system. this doesn't change. If anything, cryptocurrency can actually hinder a lot of criminal activity once we have proper laws and frameworks wrapped around it. Every transaction is pretty much stamped on a blockchain and approved, so you can go back and validate it. So this would be hard for people that are doing illicit transactions in the times that we live in now. And now with AI technology being integrated into the financial system, it's going to be able to pinpoint trends, and they can catch a lot of these things quicker. You can make anonymous transactions using crypto. So yeah, back in the day, when the technology first came out, there was a whole dark web tied around Bitcoin. So people did do illicit transactions because you never had to KYC, which means know your customer. So any exchange you go on to in present day are going to ask you for your name, your social security number. Overseas exchanges aren't accepting, U.S. clients and vice versa. So the industry is cleaning up a lot. So these are a lot of old myths that we definitely can't carry into present time and in the future. And there's so many blockchains out there, guys. It's not just Bitcoin at the end of the day. And not every single blockchain is private. Most of them are public. You will have private blockchains for enterprises and governments. So, that's something for another day, not so much the fundamental of it, but do not think that everything is private when it comes down to cryptocurrency. And like we tell you at Skyton, 99% of cryptocurrencies will die. So what do I mean by that? Guys, there's over 26,000 and there's thousands that come to market every week. A lot of them aren't worth anything. They're graded, white papers. They're really here just to, for fraud at the end of the day. It takes nothing to create a cryptocurrency. You can copy, Dogecoin, if you know that project, it's the exact code copied from Bitcoin. So, because cryptocurrency is all open source and API, meaning you can plug and play, it's easy to create a coin or a token, literally overnight with little to no money, especially a token. And this creates a problem. So once the rules and regulations come, it's going to wipe out a majority of the industry. And then when the real institutional money comes in, they're only going to put it in projects that have, that solve real world problems. And you're going to start to see the other ones die out. Now, granted, there's always going to be a dark horse somewhere, right? We like to call it crypto lottery. So the Shiba Inus, the Dogecoins, companies like the Safe Moon. And I'm not saying for you to invest in them. I'm just telling you that there are times where things can pump for a multitude of reasons, creative marketing, network marketing, and it would give you the impression that this thing can go. So I've seen new cryptocurrencies hit, $10 million market caps, $50 million market caps in a matter of months. So, just really be careful, especially chasing celebrity endorsed situations. I'd say in the last couple of years, the SEC has really come down on, Floyd Mayweather, Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, all those guys were pushing that whole NFT market. And, during those couple years during the pandemic, the NFT market was what really held up cryptocurrency, meaning there was so much money coming in, but people were just really FOMOing and chasing green candles. And most people, are down almost 90%, 99% on these, a lot of these NFT projects. But what we told our students during that time was you always have to follow the case use. So just because something has a monkey face on it and Jay-Z and Eminem have it, there still is no case use. So it's a fragile business at the end of the day. So you have to really be careful. So 99% of all cryptocurrencies are going to die. They're not going to make it past regulations. So I love this quote here. It's better to look ahead and be prepared than to look back and regret. Guys, this is important for you to understand because he who controls the media controls the mind. And the media is controlled by government. So at the end of the day, the government doesn't want everybody to have their own autonomy over money as their money and financial construct is basically crumbling. So the timing of cryptocurrency couldn't be any more perfect for you as a student to understand the fundamentals first before investing, and then finding ways to protect yourself in these times of high inflation and things. So with that said, I like to tell a personal story of the mid-90s. So I'm 45 years old, going on 46 this year, and I grew up on the internet in the 90s. The issue was back then with all these tech companies similar to crypto, They were great ideas, but the problem was there wasn't enough people with computers at home. We didn't have mobile phones back then. Things were just starting to be developed. So even when computers came about, it was still, the cost of having a home computer, and then the internet speed was another issue that we had to deal with. So this is why you saw the rise and the crash of the tech boom. So currently right now, cryptocurrency is moving 4 times faster than the speed of the internet, than the adoption, right? Because we have the internet now, and that's why it's moving fast. So I told you we went from 4% of the world population invested in crypto to 11%. So just think about it. We're still early. And the institutional guys haven't come in yet because they're risk adverse. They definitely want the rules and regulations to be set in place first. So just like the 90s, there's a direct correlation between cryptocurrency and what's happening. So you just can't be tricked out of your position at the end of the day. So when these billionaires come on and they've been trashing crypto since the beginning of time, it's because, billionaires are here to dominate you. They're not here to give you information on things that they're not making money on. So when you start to hear billionaires or institutional guys talking about Bitcoin and all things, it's because they have invested interest now. And now they're presenting it to you as a safe haven for your money. So this clip here is from NBC News from the 90s. And this was shot in present day. And then they went back to an old clip with Brian Gumbel and a few other people on cast. And they were talking about the internet and .com. So I just want you to hear the level of ignorance that the media would put out there. And just enjoy this and I'll be right back.
Before Insta, before email, all of that, our anchors, Katie Couric, Brian Gumbel, and Elizabeth Vargas, had one question, and it was, what is the internet? The A, and then the ring around it? See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about. Yeah. Oh. But I've never heard it said. I'd always seen the mark. There it is. Violence at NBC.com. I mean, what is the internet anyway? What do you write to it, like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Where is Allison? Times have changed. Allison was our Google.
Yeah, she was.
We got a movement like that earlier this week. Remember we were talking
about like cryptocurrency.
So you can hear at the end, they were talking about cryptocurrency. So the same level of ignorance that happened in the 90s with the internet is the same level of ignorance that's happening with media today, right? And guys, all of this stuff is orchestrated at the end of the day because media has information, the data and information. So they can do the proper research if they want to, but they're only putting out the information that's given to them, right? So that video from the 90s, there was actually a longer form version of it. And, Brian and them went on and they were just like, the sentiment was, I don't want people contacting me at any time of the day. So they weren't in agreement with the internet. Understand? And look what we have today with the internet. So look ahead and be prepared, or you're going to look back and you're going to regret. So with that said, I'm going to give you a prime example of why you should do your due diligence and why it's important to understand technology. So Warren Buffett, the Oracle, he's one of the wealthiest investors in the world, right? So this is a quote here. He says, "I was wrong on Google and too dumb to appreciate Amazon." Warren Buffett told shareholders at Berkshire annual meeting that he missed the chance to invest in Google. Listen, he cost them so much money just due to the fact of it was just all ignorance. Buffett has largely avoided tech stocks because he just doesn't understand the business model. So this is a guy, he's a lot older, set in his ways, and he doesn't have to worry about entry points. When markets come about, this guy has enough capital to infuse in any company and hold good positions. He also said he was a customer of Google ad business, so he should have known better and saw the long-term outlook on the company. So this is in hindsight. He's saying it after, but currently Warren Buffett is saying the same thing about cryptocurrency and blockchain. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and Bitcoin. He's totally against it. But like what we tell you at Skyton Crypto University is don't listen to what they say fully, just watch what they do. So as Warren is making these statements the same way he did about the tech companies, he back in the day, he said, Amazon, no one to buy books from Amazon, no one to purchase items online. And we kind of see where the internet took us, right? So a lot of these guys missed out on a lot more capital than they already do have. So me and you aren't in position to miss out on things due to lack of information because we live in the information age. So the information is free flowing. So what we did at Skyton Crypto University is we followed Berkshire's investment portfolio, and they invested in a new bank. It's a Brazilian bank that specializes in, it's a digital bank, and it specializes in cryptocurrency transactions. So they have a loyalty program, and this launch. This is one of the biggest digital banks in Brazil. So they have, Berkshire Hathaway has a position in it. So by these guys telling you that they're not investing in it, but then their companies are doing the exact opposite, it's not putting you in any better position because they don't want you to have the leg up. So just think about everybody who made the early investments into a lot of the tech companies in the mid 90s. Even the people who worked the lunchroom, the cafeterias at Microsoft, like these people were paid in shares. They were multimillionaires once mass adoption came. So do not think that because it's Warren Buffett, he's the smartest guy in the room, and there's a ton of guys like him who are just blind ignorance. But I truly believe they know a lot more. They're just not trying to get the public and the retail investors on board first, right? So what they're going to end up doing is, once the rules and regulations come, they're going to lock down the exchanges, which is going to hinder the ability for guys like me and you to purchase. And then they're going to start to infuse their capital fast. And then these projects are going to take off. What you have to understand about cryptocurrency is the reason is you won't deal with inflation because you can't, a lot of these projects, you can't create more coins the same way that you can print money. So it's, they have a finite amount. So, Bitcoin has, 26,000 Bitcoin and no more can be created. This is why you see the price of it, constantly rising due to scarcity. Sorry. So a lot of the projects, you have to look at the, the supply, the market cap, and they'll give you a full picture. So later in the training, Champ is going to break down, how to analyze projects and what to look for. So again, do not let the so-called smartest guys in the room trick you. They did this before and they're doing it now. And last but not least, we like to talk about mainstream and mass adoption. Guys, there's over 250 companies that are currently accepting cryptocurrency for purchases, and a multitude of them: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, Shiba Inu, XRP. So there's a link below to a company called BitPay, which is a crypto processing company that's integrated into a lot of major companies today. So I'm just going to go over a few of them so you could understand that this thing is here and it's been here. So this is BitPay's website, and I have it filters on restaurants, food and beverage. So you can see, 1-800-Flowers, Bahama Breeze. I'm not going to go through a whole lot, but Bonefish Grill, Boston Market, Buffalo Wild Wings, Burger King, California Pizza Kitchen, just to name a few. We can go into travel and leisure, Airbnb, Amtrak, Delta Airline, Fast Private Jets, Hotels.com. So there's some major companies that are already using Princess Cruise, Royal Caribbean, cryptocurrency. So when you're sitting here and they're telling you that this thing is a scam, they've already been integrated in Fortune 500 companies. So the last one I want to go into is sports and entertainment. So we have AMC Theater, which I've bought tickets before using Bitcoin. Adidas, Barnes & Noble, Best Buy, Columbia, the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban was one of the first to adopt in his shop. Fanatics, Fandango for movie tickets, GameStop, Google Play, Hulu, Microsoft, right? So you start looking at these companies. So if they're already integrating, what's that telling you? Right? These are Fortune 500 companies. So in closing, guys, cryptocurrency is here to stay. What you do need to understand is how to analyze these projects. How much, can a project change the way that we do business today? We've also followed the patent office to see how many Fortune 500 companies, Google, Amazon, PayPal, I mean, you name it, every single one of them, every major banking institution has some sort of cryptocurrency or digital blockchain patent out right now. So that's telling you where the future's at. So back in the days, we had limited access to information, but at Skyton, what we do is we scour the data, and it tells you exactly what they're doing. It shows you the partnerships with certain crypto companies are partnered with certain Fortune 500 companies, and we'll touch on some of those later in the training. What is cryptocurrency, guys? See you at the next lesson.